All right, Shalom family. So it's been a while, but there's some news that I feel like we need to talk about, or at least put out there and give you my perspective on it, and then also just from things that I've seen over the years, that correlate with this as well. So first thing I just want to get into, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Affiliate channels will be in the description below, so make sure you go subscribe to those. And so basically, the U.S. Air base got attacked. I forgot what country it was actually in, but it got attacked by Iran-backed militant groups or whatever. But basically, it was Iran. So they had, um, since they got attacked, basically the U.S. declared that they're going to actually retaliate. Now, obviously, what that means, no one really knows. I mean, they say stuff like this all the time, as far as don't cross this line, don't cross that line, that kind of stuff, and then they step right over the line and walk all the way into the house and make themselves a sandwich, and they still don't do nothing. So um, we'll see what it is, but I'm gonna play this little clip. Me just talking about it, so you get an idea if you haven't heard about it yet. And the reason this is important because Iran is one of those big countries. You're dealing with Russia, China, and Iran. That's the three amigos right there. When it comes to taking down the U.S., you have to have those three big ones. And if you um, I'll probably played it in another clip, but there was and it's hard to find now, but back around 9/11 of September, you know the there's a video that was out about how they were going to go to war with multiple different countries, and Iran was going to be the last one. And according to their plan, it was supposed to happen already, but obviously, they can make as many plans as they want. The Most High is going to intervene and have things done on how He wants to be done. But um, we haven't been to war with Iran, not no hot war, even close to what we're doing right now with China. I think that's, I mean, not China, but Russia over in Ukraine is probably about the closest they've been to dealing with Iran. Some kind of proxy war through another country type deal. But with everything else going on in the times that we're in, this is very important because if they retaliate in a certain kind of way that's enough for a bigger retaliation from Iran, then we're really going to talk about going into a hot war. You know what I mean? Because right now, it's everybody is still operating like we're not at actual war. You know what I mean? If it was, things would be a lot different. The way people move, the way people spend their time doing things, and what they spend their money on, and how much money they can get, all that kind of stuff changes when you actually in a war. You're not gonna just go about your daily lives. Things are going to change. You know what I mean? And um, a lot of those executive orders that are in place but are not being acted upon will be activated and used to keep the population in control. But the whole thing is that we know that Babylon is going to be falling. And America's Babylon, and the Civil War is part of that. Civil War is part of that, and what the other countries are trying to do basically are starting multiple wars in different locations that have U.S. Spread out thin. You know what I mean? Not and then even when you do that, then you have an actual war there on the home front amongst its own people. You know what I mean? So they're it's been a long time coming, and you can see why it would take so long for this amount of stuff to happen. There has to be things in place, and not only that, but to raise up certain generations of people to think a certain kind of way. That takes time as well. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna play this clip as far as what's going on with Iran.
This morning, the Pentagon has signaled it's moving ahead with President Biden's decision to retaliate against Iranian-backed fighters in response to Sunday's drone attack on a U.S. base in Jordan that killed 3 American soldiers.
I don't think we could be any more clear.
You see that they're can't say for sure who they are, but they look like Israel. So they killed three Israelites over there, and they're coming back. So we see how hard, I don't know if their pigment was a little bit different, if they'll come back a little bit harder, or if they would have came back already and did something. But we'll see. We'll see how hard the retaliation is on this. Mind you, the U.S. has been getting hit on their bases. They've been getting bombed for over a year now, but there hasn't been any casualties, which is kind of weird for you to get, 100, over 100 airstrikes on your different facilities in, multiple different countries, but nobody died during any of them until now. But, we'll see.
I think we could be any more clear that we have called on the Iranian proxy groups to stop their attacks. They have not. And so we will respond in a time and manner of our choosing.
President Biden blames Iran for arming the radical militants who carried out the deadly attack. He told reporters yesterday he's already decided how the U.S. will respond, adding the White House wants to avoid a broader war in the Middle East. ABC's Martha Raddatz reports a strike inside Iran is less likely than a strike in other regional countries where militants are operating.
Even though the president is hesitant to strike Iran itself during this planned multi-day bombing barrage, a U.S. official tells me that Iranian assets outside of Iran could be targets, and most of the strikes, said the official, will be inside Syria.
U.S. bases in the region have seen more than 160 attacks since Israel's war with Hamas began in October. Iran-backed fighters have also attacked commercial ships in the Red Sea in support of Hamas. Shipping industry executives told Congress yesterday that Iranian-backed militants have effectively taken control of the Red Sea, which sees 15% of the world's commerce.
The level of sophistication of the targeting, the weaponry, and the boldness is absolutely unprecedented.
The attacks have forced ships to take long detours, adding up to 2 weeks to shipments and more than doubling shipping costs in some cases.
One member has told me that they have had carriers ask for an increase of $1,500 to $3,000 per container, which represents a 38% to 73% cost increase.
The executives say shipping costs are still below levels seen during the pandemic, but they fear costs will keep rising.
Right. So you can disregard the shipping costs and stuff like that, even though it comes into play when it comes to dealing with the civil war and things like that. But one thing I want to point out, in the movie Leave the World Behind, there is the ex over was there. I forgot exactly where this came up in that movie, but I think it was because of where they had this on the screen with the QR code. The QR code they had on the TV screen when they were showing the areas affected by what was going on, or the outages or whatever. So, and then people correlated it with the X that's coming over America in April. You know what I mean? So now you got all these things that are going to be basically coming to a head all around Passover. And then some of us in the Israelite community, we believe that there might possibly be a second Exodus during that time. Obviously no one can confirm that, but for a lot of things, for stuff like this to start happening around that time, it's definitely one of those things you want to make sure you make sure you're aware, make sure people around you are aware, just in case there is something, if your mind, sometimes people get back into the grind of life and going to work and handling business and stuff like that. You want to make sure that you put yourself back into that mode as much as you can, in your mind, that you might have to leave this place, and things like that. So just make sure you don't get too comfortable, basically. So with that, I'm gonna cut this one off. This is going to lead into another video I'm gonna post it right behind this one, dealing with this civil war and what's going on in Texas. So like I said before, just keep your head on a swivel with everything going on. Make sure you leave comments and stuff if you feel like there's information you want me to talk about or whatever. Just leave a comment. And we'll see you on the next one.